as I record this, today is supposedly a monumental day because we have a new Prime Minister taking office. We've had all those hustings and voting and all of that. And we've got a new Prime Minister and everything's going to be all sorted out and it's all going to be lovely because she's going to deliver. I didn't know they did deliver at the government. But I don't want to talk about that. We'll give them time to get on with it and do whatever they think. I was out yesterday standing outside my house, peering up at the sky, peering up at the black sky at night with the lovely Julia at my side, watching flashes, great flashes that opened up the sky, lit the sky with lightning. Oh, yes. And then there was the rumble of thunder as it shook the local community. All of this going on. And it was fantastic. I love it. And the thing was, the day before, the night before, in the middle of the night, I'm lying in bed there, having a lovely dream about, I don't know, whatever it was, ice cream and dogs licking at my toes and things like that. All the sort of things that you dream of. And then suddenly again, the room filled up with this white light. And I thought, my goodness, the Lord has come down and he's had enough of me and he's about to take me away. The rumble of thunder that was clattering around my ear bowls. And in the end, of course, I realised it was a thunderstorm. And then the rain came down at huge velocity. And I thought my poor tomato plants are going to be wrecked. And I peered out of the window and I nudged the lovely Julia who was staying over there. I said, can you hear that? She said, yes, I'm trying to sleep. Leave me alone. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. But I wanted to go outside then in the pouring rain and stand there in the rain and absorb this water that's coming, this amazing event. Weather is terrific, isn't it? I mean, there's sort of nondescript weather that, is just like, well, it's just, what is it? It's not one thing or the other. I love those strident days when the sun is coming down, there's not a cloud in the sky, it's beautiful. You go outside and you feel the heat of the day and there's all those others going, oh, it's too hot, it's far too hot, I wish it wasn't hot, I wish the weather would stop, it's nearly 40 degrees, I can't cope. And I'm thinking, this is wonderful. Look, this doesn't happen that often in England. This doesn't happen that we get these wonderfully high temperatures. It's absolutely gorgeous, it's lovely, it's sensational. I want to rip off my shirt and stand there and embrace it and get the sunshine and the important vitamin D all over my skin and absorbed into my body so that I can continue to be an absolute paragon of health. If what a paragon of health is the correct term, who knows, who cares? And it's fantastic. I love it. And then when the other extreme of this, or should that be more, hang on, let's do more of that. And you stand outside and the rain is pouring down upon you. It's made the journey from however many miles above your head and it comes splattering down like little torpedoes, splashing into sort of harmless explosions of droplets of water before falling at your feet and then dribbling down the drain, filling the drain and all of that. And it's just, it's that sort of sense that you're human again. And I love it. You're human. The elements are around you. It's being in this sort of, I suppose it is the extreme of weathers. It's that sort of middling where it's like, is it raining or not raining? It's just, but mist is the same. Getting into a really deep mist that's perhaps a wet mist or a very dry fog. And you're trying to sort of go, where am I? You feel that you are fighting the elements. And if you survive those elements, how wonderful is that? You survive it. You're standing there, you're looking around and going, yes, I am human. I'm glad to be alive. Do you ever feel that? When in the rain, when it's raining like that, I know this is bizarre. This may sound a bit perverted and but you'll look at me in a strange way and go, I can't watch that Vobes anymore. Maybe that's how you feel every time I come on the screen. You probably do, and I don't blame you. But somehow you're being mesmerised to come back to the old chinwag and think, well, what is he talking about this time? I can't bear the bloke, but I'll put up with it for one more time. I remember when I used to cycle a lot because I didn't have a car. And I used to cycle to Petworth, and I remember one time I was cycling in the depth of winter. This is many years ago when I was a single bloke, but I was something like, I don't know, 15, 18, something like that, in my teens. And I was cycling, or maybe in my 20s, could have been my early 20s, something like that. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I was cycling to Petworth for some reason in the depth of winter. Snow was around everywhere. And there was nobody about. And it must have been either early in the morning or late at night. And it was so quiet and crisp. And the snow was falling as I was cycling. And I was getting hot because I was going up and down hills, cycling along. And I just felt this urge to strip off all my clothes. I hope this doesn't sound too bizarre. And going run naked, naked as one is born in the old birthday suit. And because, back then it was sort of a young, virile birthday suit that the gravity hadn't managed to get hold of and pull down to the ground. And I just felt this sort of urge. I mean, I didn't do it, but I felt this urge, the freedom. I suppose it's that sense of freedom that that you're alive, that you're breathing in. All right, it's cold air and it's cold around you. But it was just this sort of, yes, you're snowing, these cold lumps of stuff are falling from the sky. And here am I, naked man in a naked world. But it's not affecting me. It's not making me go, oh gosh, it's so cold and shivery and I'm going to die an horrible agonising death. No. You're sort of feeling I am embraced it and alive. Do you feel like that with weather? This is where I'm getting to the question I'm wanting to ask. Do you feel that weather embraces you, that it inspires you, that it makes you feel alive, that you I don't know, that it sort of it does something visceral to you, that it's just that reminding you that you are, sometimes it reminds you that you are small and insignificant, but fighting yourself, fighting the elements and surviving. It's that thing about what I love, if you go camping, for example, whether in a van, a caravan, or in a tent, and you're in your bivvy bag, whatever it is, your sleeping bag, or your blankets, your duvet, and you've got this very thin skin of whatever it is that's protecting you, like the canvas or the metal of the caravan, or you're inside a shed, maybe you're doing a bit of gardening and suddenly the heavens open up and you dash into the shed and somehow you're snug and protected from the elements, but only in a very sort of simplistic and weak way. It's this canvas is stopping you from getting wet and you're in this and you're warm, but it's that sense that all around you is nature, and somehow you're surviving. And I often wonder if, things like dormice and voles and little creatures who are down in their little holes going, oh, it's raining, but I'm okay, I'm alive. The water hasn't at that point seeped in and got in and drowned them. It must be, of course, very frightening if they do that. But then they must dig their holes in a way. I mean, I don't understand all this, creature nature stuff. I mean, I'd love to, but I don't, So with little mice and things like that, and they bury in their things, or rabbits or badgers and things. I mean, they must, presumably they must dig it in a way so that they know that when it rains, water will flow and that they're protected in some way. They can't be that ignorant because they've survived, all these things. Or maybe it's only the lucky ones that have survived. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But it's that sense of being close to nature. Maybe it's the same for those people who go on a safari and they live out there and they know there are wild beasts and snakes and insects, and yet somehow they're safe. Is it the same thing as that? Is experiencing it? Maybe it's the same for those people who go on, they like to throw themselves off mountains or go in a rubber dinghy across the Gulf of Space. No, not the Gulf of Space, on oceans. They sail around the world. These people who basically threaten their lives and yet they survive. That sense that they've achieved something, there's danger. Is that the same thing as standing in a rainstorm? I don't know. For the average person, for somebody like me who wouldn't want to get in a rubber dinghy and go sailing across the world and try and, challenge himself unnecessarily, just standing in there with the full force of nature. I guess it's the same as standing by the ocean and seeing the ocean crashing down, and you're standing there on the edge of it going, I'm safe. but I'm right next to what could be dangerous. I could throw myself in off the pier, for example, or you're standing on a cliff, aren't you? And you're overwhelmed. I suppose is that what it is? It's the overwhelming sense of just how big, how dangerous, how primeval the world can be, and that actually man, who thinks he's ever so clever because he's built buildings and houses and he's got cars and he's got a digital thing and you've got a virtual world that you can immerse yourself in, but actually for all of that, nature and the environment can just smack you out like that, open up the earth and swallow you down. And man, I think, and I say man, woman as well, obviously, it feels that they have conquered it all. But of course we know that's completely untrue, because they make we can fly, we've got aeroplanes, and most of our flights are perfectly safe. But every now and again one crashes, and you know that it's not always as safe. Nature is there. You are 30,000 feet up in the air, and if something goes wrong with the aeroplane, I'm afraid that the laws of gravity and the world of nature is going to pull it down, and you're going to be dashed to smithereens when you land. But for that, I don't know. There's something, excuse me, something primeval about standing there in a rainstorm, in a lightning storm, thinking any minute I could be struck by lightning and taken from it. But do you feel that? Do you sense that? Do you have that urge? Some people, of course, go storm chasing. Some people, as I say, they want to push themselves. So my question to you is, how do you feel about just not the extremes of pushing yourself off cliffs and things like that with no parachute, but nature, that weather? Does it affect you? Or do you think, are you one of those people who says, it's raining, bloody hell, I'm just going to hunker down and get on with it? Does it bother you, being stuck in your house with all the snow around you, as some people get maybe in Canada or in places like that, or Alaska or wherever it is? And I don't know. The weather, I think, we talk about the weather in England a hell of a lot. It's part of our life. We carry umbrellas just in case it's going to rain. It may not rain. It's the insurance policy that you take your umbrella with you. Although, not as many people carry an umbrella as much, I think, these days as they used to. But that may be wrong. But what do you think? I'd be interested in your comments. How does weather affect you? Do you embrace it or do you run away from it? I love the extreme weathers. I love that. It does something to me. It brings out the goose pimples. It makes me realise I am alive, and I love it. But perhaps you just go, it's raining. It's just, it's there. But maybe you don't even notice it. Maybe it's so bland now. Maybe your life has, I don't know. I just don't know how people could ignore it. Be interested to know. Anyway, there we go. That's the topic of the day. Thank you very much for listening to all of that. Let's find out what you've been talking about. I was talking about health and food that we eat. And I remember reading in this book, why would you put something into your mouth and eat that has no nutritional value? And people, of course, people do. They do it all the time. They get overweight, and then they look to the doctors and the hospital to put them on the right path. I mean, many of these people, of course, are very ignorant about that. They don't even realise that what they're putting into them has no nutritional value. The body is not designed for it. They seem to be that thick, which is a shame, really, because most people do want to live, but they live their lives as if they don't really care about how well they're going to live there. They might look after and service their car, but they don't seem to look after and service their bodies, which is the thing that keeps us alive. So let's have a look and see what's going on in that. Steam Searcher says a friend's mother had always been careful and shopped at the bargain end of the day. Fair enough. At her funeral of old age, the son was in charge of catering and, of course, in respect, got all the reduced items for it. Most of the time the reduced is healthy, but sometimes chocolate cake is so reduced it's far too tempting. Ah, yes. It's almost giveaway, isn't it? Scoff up that chocolate. That's from David and Lily. Thank you very much, David and Lily. Yeah, so interesting, my father, I mean, this is, well, no, let's go on. Tony Norman says, I think, I got rid of mine, it's talking about televisions here. I think the name of the TV show you were trying so eloquently to describe, Richard, is Doctor Who's a Is Doctor Who a misogynic, racist dinosaur? I can't remember the comment that I made that may have elicited that, but thank you very much for asking that question. I don't know the answer to that. Elaine Whitlock says about health, I don't think you're supposed to eat heat olive oil, i.e. cooking, but it's good for you otherwise. I'm not sure about that. From what I understand, things like sunflower oil change the way they operate, and they're not good for the body if you heat them up. Things like chips and things like that, actually, especially if you eat loads of it. But I believe that olive oil is much better to be heated up than other oils. I may be wrong, of course. Why not? Why wouldn't I be wrong? Jean Lima says, and you've told me how to pronounce your name, haven't you? And I've completely forgotten. Apologies for that. I do not eat much red meat. I eat as healthy as possible by avoiding sugary foods. Well done for you. I make my own soups for lunch, so I know what's in them. Absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. In the old days, people had to make their food from scratch, so they knew what was in them. And this is what I worry about. People buy stuff, you just don't know what's in it. I keep my weight down by eating small portions, as I need to do this for a health problem I have. Well, there you go, Jean. It seems to be that you are on the right track and doing exactly the right sort of thing. Shirley, on the other hand, says, I'm concerned what I eat and I'm trying to eat more healthily. Slow progress, but I'm getting there. Like you, I've come off sunflower oil, sticking to olive oil, eating more vegetables. By the way, you do look very healthy. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. And yes, well done. That is the process. Changing our diet is difficult because we get very tempted, and the body can crave for things that it's used to having. But very soon, I've found it doesn't. I don't mind bland foods. My palate has got used to the sort of nuances of food without having to have these when I have artificial flavours in things, you go, oh, blimey, that's quite strong, isn't it? The Vintage News says, having been told 10 years by people at work how bad Red Bull is, I thought I would consult a dietitian. Is that somebody who does it? Turns out my whole life is one long sugar rush. There are loads of veggies that I have never tried, but I don't know how to prep and cook. I'm trying to snack on protein, as that's better for it stops you eating. It's all work in process. Vegetables are very easy to cook, and there's millions of videos on YouTube and blogs and articles and what have you. But it really, food, I don't really understand why people have a problem with basic foods and how to cook them. Steaming is the best way of cooking a lot of vegetables, because you're not boiling away in the water all the goodies. Some of the in the steam, and it drops. Some of it does. Things like carrots and potatoes. It's like new potatoes and things like that. Parsnips. Just wash them, but keep the skin on them, because a lot of the nutrients and goodies are in the skin. Obviously, depending on where these things come from in mass production, they may still be residues of pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, and all these other things in the skin. So there's the argument that some people want to peel off the skin and just have the inside. But my argument is, chances are it's seeped into the whole vegetable anyway. It is a difficult thing to sort of eradicate all these poisons. But I guess in time, the human being will, although that it may be causing us all sorts of problems now, but in a few 100,000 years, we probably these things would be part of our DNA anyway, and they won't bother us because we will have evolved. But that's in 100,000 years. We haven't got 100,000 years. We've only got whatever meager lifespan that we've got now. So there you go. Kay Dean says, hi Richard, very well said. I think some people really have lost the ability to judge what is good for themselves, and there are too many fad diets, definitely. I think some want instant gratification. I think most people want instant gratification. I think that's what we've been trained for. You can have this, buy this, pay later. This sort of the whole approach. Buy 2, get 1 free. Buy 3, put 1 back. And it results, instead of good old-fashioned being mindful of what they are eating and exercise. Exactly. Always enjoy your daily chinwag. Thank you. Take care. And stay healthy and exercise. As always, your daily chinwag. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kadeen. Very, very kind of you. And Illuminated Galaxies says, nice chat, Richard. Not being a do-gooder or anything, but I have eaten healthy since my early 20s. I don't think it's a question of being a do-gooder, is it? You're just minding your body. We just want to live. And a friend of mine gets headaches a lot of the time. And I think that's mainly down to the fact that they eat so much sugar and the body is trying to process it. And as a result, you get headaches. I so rarely get a headache. Now, I'm not saying it's exactly that, but I tend not to eat crap food. Occasionally, yes, you might catch me having the odd biscuit every now and again, but it's not a common thing. My body doesn't do that. Now, I'm not trying to be a do-gooder or anything like that. It's just I'm keen on being able to get up in the morning and do the things I want to do and get on with life. I just don't want to put toxins and poisons into it. And as somebody said earlier, I want to know exactly what's in the food. So I don't think it's a question of being a do-gooder. But I think other people do have that, oh, look at them, they're so into their food. And it's like, no, I'm not really into it. I'm just eating healthy food. That's it. I'm just not eating. Whereas you could do the same as like you're a do-badder. You're a do-badder. Look at you eating all that sugar and all those weird things. And what is that doing for you? That bag of crisps you've just had, all that oil. There's barely any potato in it. The rest of it is crap. And you're putting that into your body. Why would you do that? Why? It's because we don't get the immediate reaction. I think that's the thing. If you had a bag of crisps and you instantly were ill, and everybody was ill, like if you ate poison, you wouldn't do it, would you? Anyway, sorry, go on that. I've eaten healthy since my early 20s when illness struck me down, so never smoked or drank alcohol, just vegetables, fruit, eggs, this kind of thing. No sugar. I'm pretty sure I'd have been dead if I was to eat junk food and wouldn't be able to manage my health so well. Besides, it helps it helps my consultant to help me stay well. I know sometimes, though, it doesn't make any difference. When what one does, you can still get sick. Still there are pathogens and various illnesses and viruses that no matter how healthy you are, you can still become ill from various things. But if your body's in a state of health, it's working as its maximum capacity, you'll fight off these things far quicker. That's the way I think. Mr. Baziby says, and God bless and behold, and I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be food. Yielding seeds is the key here. He says here as in, can you hear? Not here as in Here, which is, I think, what he means. Eat the seeds and you won't get cancer, he says. So there we are. Eat the seeds. Make sure that you're eating the healthy seeds of good things and not the things of bad seeds. And you'll be all right. Ingram Cars, I have a problem with food. He says, eating nice things can make me feel elated. I know how to eat healthily, and I have done so on many occasions, losing a bit of weight in the process. The trouble is, when I break my rhythm of eating healthily, for example, while on holiday, I may have a cheese scone or a Cornish pasty or a full English breakfast, for example, and I find it hard to get back again. It's almost like an addiction. When you are eating healthy, when you had your Eating Healthy series earlier this year, I found it encouraging indeed. I gave up bread, refined sugar and processed foods, and I lost 2 stone. Congratulations! In 3 months. But sadly, I got back into the bad habits, and therefore the cravings have returned. This, I suppose, is the issue. It's a question of willpower in a world of temptation. In the old days, you didn't have the temptation, did you? You just had to eat as healthily as you could. And, of course, people weren't as healthy, back, say, in the Middle Ages because the range of healthy foods wasn't there. They may have only, at certain times, just been able to eat turnips and nothing else, or limited amount of food. But what they weren't eating, of course, is a lot of rubbish at the same time. William Burgess says, these days, the almighty dollar is more important than your health. Yes, I think you're absolutely right in that, and that's not only in the the food industry, but also in the pharmaceutical industry. Same sort of thing, it seems to me. Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much. That's grand. There's one more here. Dawn Talbot says a lot of illnesses and cancers are caused by pollution. Scientific research has shown breathing in fumes from petrol vehicles. Well, of course, that's if you can breathe as healthily as you can. If we could all live on a remote island in which we grew our own food and we had beautiful sea air around us and no pollutants, life would be even longer. Imagine how long we could live. I don't know. But we're only in the world that we're in, and what we can do is try to mitigate against various illnesses. I mean, if we have to breathe in polluted air from cars and vehicles at the moment, that's what we have to do. We can try to do that, but on an individual basis, we could perhaps stop making it worse by eating too much rubbish that the body is also trying to do. It's dealing with the pollution that you might have in the air and all of that. But also, if you're adding to what your body has to do by drinking too much alcohol or smoking or eating sugary processed foods, then you're not helping yourself. I suppose that's what my argument would be. Anyway, there we go. That's it. That's today's little chinwag. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I am interested. How does the weather affect you? Do you have mood swings? If it's raining or if it's sunny, or if do you get high pressure, low pressure? Can that give you headaches and things? Are you affected by weather? Or do you just embrace it and think, wow, it's wonderful, we have it? Be interested in your thoughts. Do let me know. Till next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.